Have you been feeling like life feels loud, it feels messy, it feels disorganized? It just feels like you can't get a grip on things. Sort of like things are spiraling out of control, but you're trying to keep on that strong face, that go-get-em attitude. Deep down inside, you don't feel that inner peace. When we think of peace, we think of an association of calm and quiet and happiness. Peace is really the opposite. I'm Angela, and I'm the host of this podcast, and I want to take you on a journey through what we call, or what I'm calling, the planned life, and how the planned life really isn't as planned as it may seem. So today's episode is simply about finding peace when there is chaos all around you. And chaos could be defined in different ways. It could simply be disorganization in your home. It could be things you're experiencing at your job. Maybe it's a massive life event that just happened to you and your family and you don't know what to do with it. It's in those times of uncertainty that chaos can grow and become something and make things seem maybe worse or impossible than what they really are. True peace is defined by how you react to these situations that you encounter. First part of this video, I wanted to talk about why peace feels so hard. And personal example of my own, I believe it was Christmas Eve of 2016, okay? At this point, I had already been living on my own for quite some time. I'd graduated college 3 years earlier, and I was actually working for a local retail franchise between the tri-state area of Pennsylvania and New York. And I don't know. I thought I was tackling something great. I thought I was making myself into something. I had these visions of maybe even having my own type of franchise or my own business of some kind. You know, I wanted to be that businesswoman. But in the process of chasing this idea and this dream, or what I thought was a dream, my life started to spiral out of control. I started to let myself indulge in drinking, heavy drinking, smoking. I was I kind of secluded myself, and I had gotten to a point where, you know, I would only let so many people know a little bit about what was going on with me. And then that was it. You know, I was very guarded. I thought that was the way to go. I thought that was being successful in terms of just hyper-focusing on what I wanted to do and who I wanted to become. And ultimately, I put myself in a position to spiral out of control. So Christmas Eve of 2016, I had been having some different thoughts and ideas. It had been maybe a couple months leading up to that Christmas Eve, where I started to really think, man, like, I'm carrying such a mental load. I'm exhausting myself for what? You know, it's not like this is my business. It's not like this is my money I'm earning. I am successfully earning large sums of money for somebody who could really care less about me and only does care about their business. And so I started to doubt everything I was chasing. And obviously I'm single at this point. I really didn't have any interest in guys. The last guy I dated, it was just, I was hurt pretty deeply by this individual. So I was kind of like, you know what? Guys are on the back burner. Whatever. I don't want to deal with that right now. If it happens, it happens. You know? I didn't have kids at the time. So it was just me. You know, and I'm just trying to figure out who I wanted to be. And I started to feel really broken. And I started to dive into this mindset that I am broken, that I am damaged goods, essentially, that I am unsuccessful, that I'm not smart enough to do what I need to do. And it really impacted my perception on a lot of different things. So, for the longest time, I had avoided reading my Bible. I had grown up in the church. My parents made it a point to make sure me and my brother understood who Jesus Christ was in our lives. And they wanted to make sure that we had grown up with that foundation. Obviously, when you get older, you make choices for yourself, and you choose maybe to not believe in such things. And for me, I just wanted to put it on the back burner because I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, And so a couple months leading up to Christmas Eve of 2016, I had started eyeballing my Bible, which was on a shelf, a dusty shelf of a bookshelf I had in my apartment at the time, because I had avoided it. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't look at it. I acted like it wasn't there. And I finally got to a point where I'm like, man, what am I doing? This is silly. I'm avoiding this book for what? What am I scared of? Is it going to tell me I'm wrong in what I'm doing? Yeah, most likely. A lot of the stuff I was doing, I shouldn't have been doing. But why am I so hell-bent on avoiding it? Now, I'm not saying you have to dive into a Bible. I'm not saying you have to pursue religion. I'm just telling you what my story is and the steps I took. I finally decided one day I was going to pick up my Bible, and I don't even remember what I flipped to in it. It was just that, first breaking chain of actually grabbing it, opening it up, and reading some of the words. And then from that point, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should go to a church service. And I thought, oh, it's Christmas Eve. I got off work early, closed up the stores, and I thought, let me get dressed up and I'll go to a Christmas Eve service. So that's what I did. And it was just some local church. They had typical Christmas Eve service with candlelight, singing different carols and old hymns that were Christmas related. And then there's the message about Jesus being born and all of that. That was the beginning of the softening process. That was the beginning of me finding peace. Because part of finding peace is being willing to acknowledge there's a problem, being willing to acknowledge that maybe something needs to change, and then being willing to let go of whatever it is you're holding on to that's putting you in a spot where you're not changing because you refuse to let go of it. So for me at that point, I think it was mostly my pride. So I go home after this Christmas Eve service. I'm sort of emotionally how do I say this? I'm in my emotions at this point. I don't know. It could have been, it just could not have been more perfect, this situation. Living in Rochester, there's tons of snow. And I get into my apartment. I have my fireplace going. I'm standing on my porch. I had poured myself a glass of whiskey. I was smoking a smoke. And these massive snowflakes just start falling down. And it was you want to talk peace and tranquility? That was it. That was God saying, it's okay to change. It's okay to take on a new adventure. It's okay to be somebody better than what you are. But it's going to require letting go of quite a bit in order to do it. And I stood there and I'm thinking and I'm like, you know what? Something's got to give, right? So instead of feeling like I had to control everything to feel better, I realized it was time to let go to feel better. So I go into my apartment, I kneel at my couch for the first time in a long time, and I made a deal with God. This was my reasoning. And I literally, this is the prayer. Lord, I will go anywhere. I will do anything. I will be with anybody. But this is what I want in return. I want a church family that is a real family. I want to meet my husband, get married, and I want to be successful so that financially I can be there for other people, resources, I have enough to share with other people, and that I can live a true, fulfilled life. And then that was it. And then I continued drinking my whiskey and smoking my smoke, and then that was Christmas Eve. I want to say in that moment I had learned that control does not equal clarity. It's surrender that opens up the windows to clarity. Instead of trying to manage all these different things, multitask in all these different areas, and burning myself out, I had just realized it was time to just let everything kind of fall to the wayside. Obviously, still remaining a responsible adult, paying bills, working a job. But all my aspirations and everything that I thought I really wanted, I had to let go of. Because I realized in order to be a better person, I had to work on me as in becoming a better person. Which means making decisions you may not want to make. And making changes you don't want to make. Because you know what it's going to require of you. Take this little bit of my testimony. Ask yourself, what really matters? Is it that job? Is it that situationship you have with somebody you consider a significant other? Is it appeasing family who really does not have your best interests at heart? Or is it you avoiding individuals who only love and care for you and want the best for you? Control should not be your goal. It's surrender and a willingness to change that should be the goal. So there's 3 anchors that I want to give you in this whole, I guess we'll call it like a peace plan. Your pursuit of true peace. First of all, you need to establish your clarity over the chaos. So taking a step back. It may feel like you're giving up, but you're not. It may feel like you are letting yourself fall apart, but you're not. You're just taking a step back. You let God do his thing. 2, create boundaries. Boundaries help with breathing space. So boundaries for yourself when it comes to maybe certain people you shouldn't be around. Boundaries in terms of how you interact with individuals at your job. Boundaries in terms of what you let yourself watch. Or even what you let your kids interact with, who you let your kids interact with, or what you let your kids interact with. Boundaries in terms of how you and your husband work together and how you maybe aren't as transparent with each other as you should be. Boundaries create the breathing room. And then 3rd, you need to give yourself permission to start over. Because all of this sounds great, but if you don't give yourself permission to take that step, then there's no point in doing all the other stuff. Like, you're just going to end up right back where you started. So you have to really identify, are you willing to give yourself permission to be a better person, to change, to let yourself be molded and perfected? So in closing, because I don't want to make this video too long, I want to ask you, what is one thing that you will let go of this week to create peace? So it doesn't have to be a massive move in your life. It could just start with one simple thing. It could start with the type of music you listen to. It could start with maybe just a bad habit. Like, for me, it was drinking. When I say drinking, like, I was already shooting shots at 10:30 in the morning because I just couldn't go without. You know what I mean? So what do you have to release, let go of, or break even to begin creating that space to find peace? In this effort to find peace, you have to realize that you have to take the initiative to go after it. It's not something you just wait for. It's not something that just pops up out of nowhere. It's not something that'll come for you. If anything, it's the chaos that comes for you. Peace is not of the devil. The devil is all about the chaos and confusion. God is not a God of confusion. So you have to take the initiative to find that peace. You have to take the initiative to create those boundaries. You have to take the initiative to start the change. I want to say that if you're new to faith, or you're even unsure about it, or maybe you don't want nothing to do with faith, that's fine. I'm going to share more about my testimony in the next episode that I record. Kind of like where I went from that Christmas Eve forward, and how faith impacted my life, and how faith made a difference in who I am, and how it helped me really become rooted in everything else. I want to encourage you to subscribe to this podcast, share it with a friend, and in the link for this video, as well as in the link of the channel, I have a free gift for you. It's a checklist that I had put together. It's called the 7-Day Reset Checklist. This is something I took months to write because I wanted to make sure that it was something educational and effective and practical. It's not overcomplicated, but I believe it does help bring a certain sense of routine and establishment to your life if you follow it and if you're honest with yourself in the process of going through it. So if you just click that link in the video description, you'll be prompted to enter your first name and email address, and then that checklist will be emailed to you right away. If you have any questions, leave a comment, like, share, follow. Stay tuned for the next episode, because in that I'm going to continue the story of kind of like my backstory into what happened after Christmas Eve of 2016. And make sure, like I said, you like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.